Do you already have big plans for the new year? Today we are going to take a look at what are the best financial goals for the next year, for you and for all of us. Hello and welcome. My name is Peter B and I welcome you here at My First Million, where we are achieving our financial goals together. So, having a lot of good plans for the new year. It's very important because only with a plan you can try to do better and achieve your goals. So, but what are the best financial goals, or what's the best financial goal for you in your personal situation? For this, let me quickly change to my whiteboard. So, heading over to. I already presented this several times. This is the wealth cycle. In order to define your best financial goal, you just need to have a quick analysis of your current situations. On the wealth cycle, you basically have four areas. You have earnings, you have spendings, you have savings, and investings. So basically, earnings minus spendings will give your savings. And once you have some savings, ideally you put them into investments that will generate a rate of return for you, and therefore can also give you a passive income boost for your earnings. So, which area should you be focusing on? Is usually, you would say, focus on your strength. But when it comes to financial goals, to do better financially, you especially should first figure out where are your weaknesses. Which areas are your weaknesses? Because if you can eliminate your weakness, you will have the fastest improvement that you can achieve financially. So let's say you know all those four areas in your personal situations. And let's say first you realize you don't have any savings at all. After your earnings and your spendings, you don't have savings. So in this situation, maybe your financial goals should be mostly considering boosting up your savings rate. This could be like defining a savings rate for this year, for this upcoming year. Or maybe you can specify a specific amount each month that you want to save. So this would be potential goals for savings. Then usually, coming back to the wealth cycle, if you don't have any savings, usually it's either your earnings are too little or your spendings are too much. Or maybe it could be both, that you don't earn enough, but you also spend too much according to what you earn. So in this situation, then also take a look, where do we have a gap? For instance, if someone has a spending problems, they should especially focus on setting the financial goals on the spendings. I give here some possibilities what you could be doing for spendings. So for spendings, usually the best way to get your spending under control is track your spendings. Know where your money is flowing out so that you can identify the areas where you potentially have the biggest issues of money outflow. And another thing that could be helpful, especially once you know where your spendings are going, is go on a budget. For instance, just don't plan a vacation, whatever you like, but maybe have a specific budget for your vacation. Also, maybe if you like to go out in the weekend, have a budget for that. Have a budget on your food, whether you buy in the grocery store or whether you eat outside. So that you at least have more control in your life, where your spending is going. Then another goal that it could be, maybe you can cut down on specific non-necessary expense. Maybe you know that you're splurging in one area that constantly is one of the reasons that maybe you don't save as much as you could be if you wouldn't have these expenses. So maybe you can cut down in that specific non-necessary expense. Once you know also where your spendings are going, maybe you can reduce your expense in a specific area by a specific dollar amount. Again, maybe you're eating outside too much. maybe you realize maybe you're eating maybe 500, 600, 700, you're spending $500, $600, $700 per month, maybe in restaurants. So maybe you can reduce the expense and just cut it down maybe to 200 or something like that. So you can maybe identify an area where you want to especially control your expense. And also one possibility to bring your spendings in control is maybe change one of your habits. For instance, it could be that you go to work every day and on the way to work you buy a Starbucks coffee. Maybe this is just $3 a day, but over a year, $3 a day also sums up to $1,000. So if you have maybe one change of habit, that maybe you don't buy a Starbucks coffee, but maybe drink the free coffee that you get from work, or cook a coffee at home in the morning, or in general, maybe don't drink coffee at all anymore. If you change a habit like this could also be a potential way how you can save. Of course, this is just an example with coffee. Maybe there are other habits that you usually spend money on that maybe are not really necessary. So if you see that your spendings are too high, then maybe take one of these points at least into consideration for your financial goal for the next year that you could be improving. So coming back to the wealth cycle, going one step more to the left, maybe you have an income problem. Then maybe if you realize that your main reason why you're not saving enough is you don't earn enough, then maybe that's the area that you should be focusing on in the next year. So what could you do in order to earn more? I made a video a while back about entrepreneurship. That's maybe something that you can take a look into if you're employed. So if you're employed at a company and feel like you're not doing as well as you could be in your job, in your career, maybe you can consider to become an entrepreneur in order to improve your opportunities in your career over time. Also, maybe if you feel like you're stuck in your company, or you don't have any career opportunities in your company, or the salary that you get paid is too low and there are no possibilities to change it, maybe it's also time to evaluate your opportunities on the job market. Then of course, more on the long term, one goal could be that you start planning your career more intentionally. Maybe you're working in a specific area and realize that you're lacking of some specific skills, or maybe in even a degree. So if you want to enhance your career into one direction, think about what skills would you need to acquire that leads you towards that path. Then, of course, outside being employed, maybe there are other opportunities other possibilities that you can start doing. You could start building a business as a side hustle maybe first, and maybe if it's successful, you can shift your focus from being employed to being an entrepreneur. Another possibility is that you start a side hustle. Maybe you start selling things on Amazon and see if that could generate an additional profit for you. Just keep the ball bowling on your side hustle. Get better and better and find some ways for building up some additional income. That could be another goal. And lastly, if you think it's more like a temporary thing that you need an income boost, especially maybe if you're still young and full of energy, maybe you can take a second job into consideration. Maybe you could work during the evenings or the weekends. Find a second job where you can exchange your time for money and therefore get an income boost, at least for a period of time. So that are all possibilities what you could be doing for earning, or just some options. Then if you feel like you're strong already with earning, spendings, and therefore have a high savings rate, maybe your weakest link could be investing. So then maybe your financial goal for the next year should be improving your investment skills. So what could be goals for investings? Some people even don't have anything saved up yet and are even in debt. So this would be, if that's the case, then instead of having investments here at the lower area, they have debts. So they have a negative cycle. It's not a wealth cycle, it's a debt cycle. In that situation, maybe from investing purposes, is the first step getting out of debt as soon as possible. Maybe another goal, so if you already have something saved up, but you are not doing investments yet, maybe you can the easiest way usually to start off with investments is just start with dollar cost averaging into a total stock market index fund, into an ETF. So that's usually the cheapest way and the easiest way to start investing, and at least should be generating you the average rate of the return, which is very often more better than what another average, not so experienced investor can get. So then another opportunity or another goal that you could be setting, learn about a specific investment type. So if you're not very familiar with different investments opportunity, maybe you can pick one of the areas that you want to get more familiar. Maybe you want to start investing into stocks, so then you can learn how to analyze stocks, how to learn into analyze the business potentials and valuations of stocks. Or maybe you want to try out real estate investments. Then you can start listening to podcasts and learn more about real estate so that you become ready to make the investments. So basically, whenever you are considering investments, you need to make sure that you fully understand what you're doing, because no one else will be covering any losses from investments for you. So you need to be able to take the ownership and the responsibilities of your investment results. So get savvy and understand what you're doing. And last but not least, if you already are investing and have several investments ongoing, analyze your investment performance, and you might be able to find some errors that you're doing over and over again. So maybe you have the opportunity here for the next year that you will be optimizing your current strategy. So this is what I would recommend you, how to set your financial goals for next year. First, take a look at the wealth cycle and really find the spot. Where is your weakest link in the wealth cycle? What's currently not working for you? And focus on that area specifically, and set your new year goal accordingly in that area. So as mentioned, if you need to boost your earnings, focus on how you can generate better income. If you need to have a spending problem, focus on get your expenses under control. Also, if you don't save enough, make sure that you start saving a lot. So this is usually also linked back to either earnings or spending, so maybe both of them. And then finally, if you do everything at the top well, make sure that also you get savvy in investing and are able to generate a good rate of return while it's not risking all your money in risky investments. Which of the 4 areas is the one that you can improve the most? Please write it in the comments below and share it with us. For me, it's most likely both earnings and investings. And come back for the next video where I will share with you my financial goals for the next year. Thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate you joining us today. I look forward to see you soon again, and especially I look forward to see you winning financially.